Honorable Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Shri Manish Tiwari ji, Shri Sam Pitroda, Srimati Mrinal Pandey, Shri Jawahar Sarkar, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by very sincerely thanking Sri Pitroda and his team for giving me this opportunity of attending this day-long consultation and also perhaps say a few things on this occasion. I think the committee has indeed adopted a very comprehensive approach, perhaps befitting the very comprehensive terms of references which the committee has been given. And we are absolutely certain that the outcome of these consultations and these deliberations would be very fruitful, very beneficial, very productive, and we should be able to get some kind of a roadmap from the committee, which, in addition to several things, would also make it not extremely difficult for government to implement. We just heard the chairman of the Prasar Bharati. It was a welcome speech, but it was also a reflection of the kind of thinking which is going on in her mind, and also perhaps in the minds of several other people similarly placed. These are matters of concern, and I think we really need to take note of it. We have the benefit of 3 previous committees which actually reviewed or in some way addressed the functioning of Prasar Bharati. We had way back in 1995 Mr. Sen Gupta committee. Then we had in 2000, earlier to 2000, we had the Sonu Sen committee or Narayan Murthy committee, and then we had a committee, technical committee almost, a Bakshi committee, which looked at harmonizing the provisions of Prasar Bharati Act. But the time and the milieu in which these committees were constituted were very different. 1995 was the Sen Gupta committee. Bakshi committee was set up in 2000, and Narayan Murthy committee submitted its report in 2000. So this is good 13 years ago. At that point of time, there was a Doordarshan, there was a AIR, there was a Prasar Bharati, but we didn't have 1,000 channels. We didn't have 450 new channels. And this very big concern about any broadcaster being very, very independent and to be able to really project or reflect or broadcast every possible viewpoint across the horizon has been largely addressed today, because there are 450 independent channels which are projecting independent views all the time. So the whole situation has undergone a change. Look at the technology. The technology has completely transformed the situation in broadcasting. And therefore, I think we are very keen that in these changed circumstances, none of these committees actually anticipated that in less than 10 years' time there will be 800, 900 channels in India. But perhaps we can anticipate what is going to happen now that digitization is taking place in the broadcasting sector. And I must dwell for a minute or two on this, because this is going to have a far-reaching impact on the whole broadcasting sector, and definitely for Prasar Bharati and Doordarshan. We have completed the digitization process in 3 metros. The 38 1 million plus towns actually have almost become digitized. 80% of them have become. Several states or these cities belonging to several states have become fully digitized. And this whole process is going to really culminate in maybe 2 years from now, when the whole country becomes digitized. One of the major problems with the Doordarshan was that even though it is a mandated channel, it is not shown by most of the cable operators. Because of analog, you can always replace Doordarshan, which is a mandated channel, with something which you find more revenue earning perhaps, or maybe you can couch it and say that more interesting to the viewer. Now, this particular big problem is going to be addressed very, very substantially when the digitization takes place. I think these are very exciting opportunities that are going to unfold before Prasar Bharati and Doordarshan. when the impact of digitization, and which has started being evident, will be available in full measure. So this is one thing I wanted to talk to you about. The second issue that I wanted to raise, which of course is linked to the issue, is this whole business of TRPs, the TAM ratings, etc. I think digitization itself is going to really make this process, if not wholly transparent, it will have an impact on making it transparent. What is more important, and I would like to really mention it here, is that we have given clear signals to the broadcasting industry and the advertising industry to make sure that there is an independent television rating system in place by the middle of next year, failing which government will not hesitate in asking TRAI. In fact, we have already made a reference to TRAI to make sure that there are adequate guidelines in place for any TRP generating entity to form. I think there's something which has to go hand in hand with digitization, because then only the impact and the benefits of digitization would actually be fully available to the people of India. Lastly, we are actually having the minister amidst us, and we will be looking forward to his address, because will be talking about a great deal of policy issues and issues that confront this committee as well. But I would certainly like to draw your attention, and which has a bearing on the deliberations of the committee, on what is happening around us in terms of the content and the content regulation. Regulation seems to be a very undesirable word these days, but let me tell you that there is no other country except India which doesn't have a regulator. How do you view regulator? How do you define a regulator? How do you position a regulator? How do you constitute a regulator? It's a different matter altogether. But there is no country except us which does not have a regulator. Most countries, almost all countries, including the country which we generally look up to, like US and UK, have very established regulators. Following what happened in UK, the Prime Minister following what happened in UK in terms of the phone tapping and all those unfortunate incidents which created such noise and ruckus, the British Prime Minister set up a committee under Lord Leveson, and it was an inquiry into the culture, practice and ethics of the press. This report came about 6-7 months back. Typically, and I think this is also a reflection of our attitude towards what we call as freedom of expression, that Indian press by and large ignored this, and so did the television industry. But following this report, which actually said something which I like to quote to you, because this is very relevant in the context of the regulation, and so permit me to just take 2 minutes and quote it. The judge says, I end where I started this summary. This is the 7th time in less than 70 years that the issues which have occupied my life since I was appointed in July 2011 have been addressed. No one can think it makes any sense to contemplate an 8th. There are 7 commissions before that. The ball is now in the court of the politicians. I expect my recommendations to be treated in exactly the same cross-party spirit which led to the setting up of this inquiry. The Right Honourable Sir John Major quoted graphically, and this is the paragraph which I wanted to really quote to you. I have no idea what this inquiry will recommend, but if it makes recommendations that require action, then I think it is infinitely more likely that that action will be carried into legislation if it has the support of the major parties. If it does not, if one party breaks off and decides it is going to seek future favor with powerful proprietors and press barons by opposing it, then it will be very difficult for it to be carried into law. And I think that is something that is very important. So I think there's a special responsibility on the leaders of the three major parties. 20 odd years ago, 23 years ago, I think, a senior minister said that press were drinking at the last chance saloon. I think on this occasion, it is the politicians who are in the last chance saloon. If at the end of this inquiry, with the recommendations that may be made, and I don't seek to forecast what they may be, but if the recommendations that are made are not enacted and nothing is done, it is difficult to see how this matter could be returned to in any reasonable period of time. And those parts of the press which have behaved badly will continue to behave badly and put at a disadvantage those parts of the press that do not behave badly. The crux of this is that even if we have a very sensible recommendation, it is to be decided by the people of India through Parliament to really put that into action. Fortunately, in England, this was followed by a meeting of minds among the three major political party leaders. On last 17th or 18th of March, they all came to an agreement, and they decided that through a royal charter, they will make the powers of the regulator far more effective, I would say. I am mentioning this because the reason why we need to really discuss and deliberate it, we don't need to have any sort of very strong views we may have personally, but as an issue of deliberation, I think this is important that this issue is not buried, because this cannot be buried. There is no way this issue cannot be addressed. This issue, you can avoid addressing this issue. This issue will have to be, whatever may be the system of regulation, whether it is self-regulation, whether it is a very, very independent regulation, or whether it is a regulation also supported by good, effective defamation laws. All these things need to be really brought into focus as far as broadcasting sector is concerned. I would like to stop here. I have two small suggestions to make for the consideration of chairman of the committee. One is, perhaps it may be a good idea in practical terms to really separate the DTH functioning of Prasar Bharati by creating a special purpose vehicle, so that the DTH, which has a tremendous commercial possibility, gets special attention, and the structure that deals with DTH in Doordarshan gets requisite flexibility to deal with the challenge and fully harness the potential. Likewise, I would also venture to suggest that the transmission and the activities associated with transmission, like erection, acquisition, and maintenance of transmission systems across Prasar Bharati, should also be looked after by a specialized body and not the manner in which it is being done today. I think these two specific suggestions I wanted to make. I am extremely thankful for getting this opportunity to speak on this occasion, and I am absolutely confident that at the end of the day we would have reached some extremely valuable conclusions. Thank you very much.